Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein, and I'll be your presenter today. Today, we are working in the donations module and talking about prepaids. So the process for handling donations that come in the current year for a pledge that doesn't start until next year. So we're going to walk through that process in donations. We're going to look at a couple reports. And then if you have accounting, we're also going to talk about setting up the link over to accounting to put that money into a liability account and kind of hold it there until the new year comes, and then how to do a journal entry to get the money out of the liability account and move it over to an income account. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. We'll probably use the full 20 minutes today, if I had to guess, and I'll hang with you guys after. If you have questions, please put those in the Q&A section on your Zoom toolbar. I'll do my best to get you an answer that way. I am recording the event. I'll have it cleaned up and put out on the Resource Center here by the end of the day. Rewatch it or share it with someone you feel might find this information beneficial. Okay? All right, let's get started. I'm going to open up donations. And if you were with me for earlier webinars this month, we talked about entering and creating a pledge campaign. So I want to first go into pledges, and I want to show you that there is, in fact, a 2026 pledge campaign that runs for the whole year. That is to the general fund account. Okay, so here is my 2026 campaign. Here are all my pledgers. To be able to enter a prepaid pledge or prepaid donation, so a donation that's coming in before the start date of their pledge, there has to be a pledge entered first. Okay, so when you go to enter that donation, you have to tell the software that this gift is coming in with a donation date in 2025, which means they need to get tax credit for it in the year 2025. But I want this to go towards a pledge that is occurring in the future, so in 2026, for our example today. So having their pledge in the system is the very first thing you have to do to be able to enter a prepaid. Okay. If you need help with creating a pledge campaign or entering pledges, you can go out to churchwindows.com, check out the Resource Center, and there's a full webinar out there, recorded webinar out there from earlier this month. You can watch that to catch up, okay? But first things first, get the pledge entered, which we have. We're going to work with the Bells, the Bernards, and Chris Day as well, who are my first 3 pledgers here in the list, okay? So let's say last Sunday, we get some donations that came in for their 2026 pledge. You're still going to use the donation date that you received the money. So we're going to do Sunday the 19th. And then we're going to choose the giver. So like I said, we're going to work with the Bill. So let me put Bill in here. I'll select Bill, and then I'm going to put in how much his pledge amount was for. Let's say, or his prepaid pledge amount was for. We're going to say $100. And then let's say he gave a check, put in the check number. Now, when you get down here under account/pledge, this is where it's crucial to choose the correct thing, okay? So right now it's defaulting to their current pledge, which they have a general fund pledge. That's fine. If you want this to go to their pledge for 2025, which we don't. This is a prepaid. So to find that properly, you need to hit the down arrow. You need to start scrolling all the way down to the bottom of your list. Notice you have the account column. Whoops, I didn't mean to click. And then you also have the pledge range column. Once you start scrolling down, you're going to start seeing some dates in here. When you see a date, that tells you that this person made a pledge to the corresponding account within this date range. This section down here is going to be unique to everybody because everybody's pledges are going to be different. Some people might pledge, some people might not. So if you ever go to enter a prepaid and you're not seeing the pledge range that you know they've pledged for, that's telling you that their pledge hasn't been entered yet. So you need to close out and go back into the pledges screen and put their pledge in. Okay. But we can see right at the top of the list, the most recent one or the one in the future is going to always be first. So if you scroll to the bottom of the list, you're not going to find 2026. 2026 is going to be the first one of your pledge ranges. So I'm going to choose that. So now when you're entering the donation, you're going to see general fund, which is correct, but now you're going to see the 2026 pledge dates. So we know even though this gift is coming in at 2025, it's going towards his pledge to 2026. Okay? And then you can put comments in if you wish, you don't have to, but then we're going to add that to the batch. You're going to get a message. You've selected a pledge that's in the future. Click OK if they are prepaying a future pledge. I'm going to check this box that I don't want to see this alert again. It's up to you. You can turn it on or off, say OK. And then it pops down below and it's part of the batch. Then you go back up and you can continue to enter regular donations. You don't have to do a prepaid batch separately if you don't want to. But then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in the Bernards. We're also going to put in a $100 pledge just to kind of keep everything rounded. And then again, it's going to default to their current pledge, but we're going to scroll down. And as you can see, these dates are different. They're unique to Evan, but at the top again is still our 2026. Add that to batch. And then we'll do one more for Chris Day. Do $100 as well. Put in a check or reference number. And same thing, scroll to the bottom. Again, this is unique to him. We're going to choose 2026 and add that to batch. Okay? So these are all prepaids. You don't have to do it, like I said, you don't have to do a separate batch of prepaids. You can include just your regular offering that goes into general fund current. That's fine. Okay? Now, what we're going to do from here is I'm going to hit post. It's going to ask me if I want to print. I'm going to say yes to this because I want to show you something unique that you can do. If you go to the columns tab, you have a column called pledge. I'm going to move this over to the right because I want to show you the purpose of this. I'm going to scoot this up and leave it here. If you are a pledging church and you want to see those gifts specifically marked as a pledge, you can set to save these selections as default. And then each time you run this report, you're going to have the pledge column. It's up to you if you want to keep it as a default. I think it's helpful. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. And what you're going to see then is here's the date the donation batch occurred. So this is our Sunday date. And then here are our gifts. Here's Bill, Bernard, and Chris Day. And then if you look, you can see in the pledge column the dates for 2026. So if you had some other gifts in here that were just to their current pledge, those gifts would have a 2025 next to them. But including this pledge column is going to show us what's non-pledged. So if you get giving that isn't pledged giving, it'll say non-pledged, it'll say 2025 year, and then all the prepaids are going to have the 2026 year. So this is a really clean, easy report to show you the breakdown of your general fund giving that was non-pledged for 2025 and then for 2026 as well. And if you see 2026, you know just by looking that these three donations are prepaid gifts, okay? Now, before we post these over to accounting, I want to show you a couple more things. When you set up your transfer to accounting, if you don't use the accounting module, just ignore this for now. You have this default account links tab. So you can go up here to transfer to accounting and then go to the default account links tab, or you can go to special functions, link to accounting, and it's going to open right up to the default tab. But what you can set up here, if we focus here on this first line for general fund, you can specify or you can tell the software when a prepaid donation comes in, I don't want it to go to my regular old income account. I want it to go into a liability. Now, the reason why you would want to transfer this into a liability account is because that liability account with this balance of the $300 we just entered is going to act as a holding account or a holding tank. So liability accounts from one year to the next keep their balance. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put in this $300 in our example today, and it's going to credit by default this prepaid credit account called prepaid pledges, which is a liability account. Software is going to know it's a prepaid, so it's automatically going to pull this prepaid pledges liability, and it's going to put the money in there, okay? Then when your new year starts, 2026, you're going to update your beginning balances in 2026, and you're going to be able to then move the balance out of this liability account into an income account to then have, again, our example, that $300 show up as income, not in 2025, but in 2026. Okay, so that's why it's important to have this prepaid credit account set up. All right, so let's close this and let's look at donation statements. This is, we'll jump back to the transfer here in a second, but donation statements, I want to show you how a 2025 donation statement is going to look, and I want to show you how a 2026 donation statement is going to look for prepaids, okay? So by default, when you come into donation statements, it's going to default to a date range of the current year and only those people who have giving so far. Bell, Bernard, and Day all meet that criteria. So I'm just going to hit next through this. And I'm going to get to step 2. I'm going to go with the template windowed envelope statement. You might have a customized statement that you're using. That's fine. As long as you have the account summary section displayed, you're still going to be able to see the pledged amount and the prepaid amount as well. But I'm going to come down to the bottom and we're going to just check Bell, Bernard, and Day. And I'm going to hit print on these. Now, this is Bill Bell's, and if we look, this is the account summary section that I was referring to. This is where you are going to see the pledge date. So these parentheses, which just like up here is explaining what they're doing, they're telling you what the pledge dates are, okay? So they have a pledge in 2025, that's $100 a week. They also have a pledge for 2026 that, as you can see here, is $100 a week. So their pledge stayed the same from year to year. Now, if you look here to the right, the amount given column is showing $100 for 2026. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be doing. So it's taking the amount given so far this year towards their 2025 pledge, which is $615. And then it's also showing $100 on a separate line item because that is to their pledge for 2026 that they're prepaying. So their grand total this year so far is $715. Okay. Now, if we scroll down, same thing with the Bernards. You're going to see 2 lines because they have some giving in 25 for their pledge and some giving for 26 in their pledge. Here's those amount given columns as well. Even though this is towards their pledge for 2026, they gave it in 2025, so it's showing up on this donation statement, okay? Now, let's go look at a statement for 2026 so you know what their statement will reflect next year. I'm going to change it to all for giving include, and we're going to go 2026. Add, next. We're going to do in the days, okay. And let's print this out. So no one has any transactions yet. They don't have any donations in 2026 yet, but their statement is going to show what their prior giving or their prepaid is going to look like. So for example, their total given is 0 so far because they gave the $100 in 2025, which is showing appropriately. But when you look down at the bottom, you can see that you have general fund for the pledge dates of 2026. And in the prior giving column, we're seeing the $100. The amount given is 0 because they haven't given towards their pledge yet in the 2026 year, but that prior given is here, and it's crediting their pledge, so it's reducing how much they have left to owe towards their pledge. Okay, so that's the main difference between what their 2025 donation statement is going to look like, and then that's what their 2026 is going to look like as well. Okay. All right, let's go look at the transfer screen here. So if we go back up here to transfer to accounting, we're going to see this batch waiting for us for the $300, which makes sense because that's what we just entered. If I hit the plus sign here, you can see that it is $300 to general fund. The debit account is the same. That's our bank checking. But the credited account here has now changed to a liability account, that default account we set up. So it knows that this is a prepaid, as you can see here, and it's going into this account appropriately. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. Verify that I want to post it. If I want to print it, I can do so. That's fine. All right, so now let's jump over to accounting. And again, if you don't use accounting, feel free to leave the event. That's fine. But now in accounting, we need to do a journal entry, okay? So we're going to send that money into 2025. We're going to leave it in that liability account through the end of 2025. I'm going to open my 2026 year, which you can see I've already done here. I am going to come in here and I'm going to update my beginning balances. Easy peasy. And then this is where you can decide to do the journal entry. So you can do the journal entry as a lump sum if you want at the beginning of the year. So you can go in and do one journal entry transaction and you can move the full amount of your prepaids out of that prepaid liability account into whatever income account you wish. Or you can do it in little bits or little installments if you wish. So some people don't want to see a big influx of income in January. They want to kind of spread it out. So if you choose, you can go month to month or whatever time frame you prefer, and you can go in and do this journal entry, moving some of the prepaid income out of the liability and into the credit account at whatever amounts and whatever dates you choose. It's up to you. It's your data. So I'm going to go up here to the top and go to transactions, other. We're going to go journal entry. Just for ease, I'm going to do just January 1st for this. We're going to come down to the bottom and we're going to choose that prepaid liability account. I'm going to debit $300. I'm going to come to the right, hit my little plus sign. I'm going to choose my income account that I would like this to show in. If you want to separate it out to multiple income accounts, again, it's your books, up to you. And then this is going to be a credit account. It's going to increase that by my $300. You can also hit this show running balances button if you wish. Let me add it to the batch. And it's going to show you your current balance, what the effect of this adjustment or this journal entry is going to do, and then what your adjusted balance is going to be. And then you'll see down here as well, current balance is 0. Here's the transaction effect, and then here's going to be the $300 increase. Okay? A lot of people like to keep this running balances thing open. It's up to you. And then to move the money, again, out of that liability into that income account, we're going to post it. And that's how you get that to show up as income in 2026.